Hi there guys, this is Nikhil from Greedy Tech and this is the in-depth comparison between MI5 and OnePlus 2. So guys, I have the OnePlus 2 on the right and MI5 on the left. So let's start off with the build quality. So the MI5 weighs in about 130 grams and OnePlus 2 weighs in about 175 grams. And you can definitely feel that OnePlus 2 is way heavier than MI5 with just a difference of 45 grams. And coming to the actual build quality of both the devices, OnePlus 2 has a 5.5-inch display completely covered with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. On the back we have this nice textured back panel which can be replaced with other back panels like these. OnePlus 2 has this metal band running all around the phone. On the back we have the camera, dual tone LED flash and a laser for quick focus. On the top we have the 3.5mm audio jack and at the bottom we have the USB Type-C charging port and the speaker grills. Now coming to the MI5, we have a 5.15-inch display with Corning Gorilla Glass 4 on the front and back. On the top we have the 3.5mm audio jack with infrared sensor, and at the bottom we have a USB Type-C charging port and speaker grills. On the right we have the power button and the volume rockers, and on the left we have the SIM card tray. So at the back we have this nice curved edges which actually makes the phone very easy to hold. Even though the device is actually very slippery, but because of these curved edges we can very easily hold it in our hand. So that's pretty much it about the build quality. Both the devices have touch capacitive buttons at the bottom which are configurable, and on OnePlus 2 you can also choose to have on-screen buttons. On both the devices we have the fingerprint scanner on the front, and on both the devices the fingerprint scanner will also work as a home button. On the OnePlus 2 the fingerprint scanner is just like a capacitive button, it's not actually a physical button. But whereas on the MI5 we have a nice tactile button with the fingerprint sensor on top of it. So when it comes to the actual performance of fingerprint scanner on both the devices, fingerprint sensor on MI5 is way faster than OnePlus 2. Let me just give you a quick demonstration. So the OnePlus 2 is locked now. So OnePlus 2 takes about maybe 2 to 3 seconds. Now let's see MI5. To unlock the device using the fingerprint scanner on MI5, you need to first wake up the device, then place your finger on the fingerprint scanner. So it's a two-step process. So let me just wake the device now, and when the device is awake, just place the finger and it will unlock. The two-step process is really annoying, but the fingerprint scanner works really well. Other way to unlock the MI5 is simply press the home button. So with just a click, it will wake up and recognize your finger and unlock the device. But when you try to do that using a single hand, you might accidentally drop your phone, just like you have seen earlier. So anyway, that's the performance of the fingerprint scanner on both the devices. Additionally, on MI5 you have the infrared sensor and NFC which are missing on OnePlus 2. So with NFC, you can use your MI5 for wireless transactions when it is available in your country. So guys, now coming to the display on both the devices. MI5 has something called as a luminous display, which is simply a very bright display. So when you use the MI5 in direct sunlight and have auto brightness turned on, the brightness of the display increases greatly and it becomes very easy to use in the sunlight. Whereas OnePlus 2 also has a very decent screen, it isn't as good as MI5's. Now I'm going to play the same video on both the devices and let's compare the display quality, brightness levels, color reproduction. I am playing the same video on both the devices at the same time, and both the devices are set to maximum brightness, and as you can see clearly MI5 has a much brighter screen. And coming to the color reproduction, because of the brighter screen on MI5, the colors actually look much more vibrant than on OnePlus 2. Individually both the displays are pretty good, but MI5 is way better than OnePlus 2. So that's about the display. And coming to the speakers on both the devices, so they pretty much have the same design It looks like both the devices have dual speakers, but unfortunately both the devices have just a mono speaker and they are placed to the right side. So the left grill on both the devices is just to make a symmetric design. Coming to the cameras on both the devices, OnePlus 2 has a 13 megapixel camera with f2.0 aperture, 2-axis optical image stabilization and a laser assisted focus, whereas MI5 has the latest 16 megapixel camera with 4-axis optical image stabilization, face detection autofocus and f2.0 aperture. Both the devices are pretty good when it comes to camera performance, but because of the 4-axis image stabilization on MI5, videos and pictures are slightly better than OnePlus 2. On the front, OnePlus 2 has a 5 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture, whereas MI5 has a 4 megapixel camera with f2.0 aperture. So in terms of camera performance, both are pretty good, but MI5 is slightly better than OnePlus 2. These are some sample images and sample videos. Coming to the performance of both the devices, MI5 is powered by a Snapdragon 820 processor, which is actually a quad-core processor with a maximum clock frequency of 1.8 GHz, whereas OnePlus 2 is powered by Snapdragon 810 chipset, which is an octa-core processor with a maximum frequency of 1.8 GHz. So you might think with 8 cores, OnePlus 2 might be better than MI5, but that's not the case. MI5 actually has the low-end version of Snapdragon 820, but still it performs way better than Snapdragon 810. So these are the benchmark scores of both the devices, and as you can see clearly, even though MI5 has just 4 cores, it performs way better than OnePlus 2. So that's about the CPU. And when it comes to the RAM and internal storage, on OnePlus 2 we have 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage, whereas on MI5, the version that's launched in India, we have 3GB of RAM and 32GB of internal storage. As of now, it's been more than 6 months since OnePlus 2 has been launched and just around 1 month since MI5 has launched. And there are a few bugs. Currently, MI5 has serious memory management issues, because of which recent apps are killed automatically in the background. So when you try to open multiple apps, say 4 or 5 apps, and go back to the first app, that app will open once again. And because of that, the battery might drain a lot and you might not have the best multitasking experience. So that's something currently disappointing about MI5. So we just hope that it gets fixed very soon. Now coming to the software part of both the devices, OnePlus 2 is running something called as Oxygen OS on top of Android, and it is very close to the stock Android. As you can see, all the animations, notification styles are very close to stock Android. And we have two themes, one is the light theme and the dark mode on OnePlus 2, and that's pretty much it. We don't have a lot of customizations for power users on OnePlus 2, whereas MI5 runs on something called as MIUI 7 on top of Android Marshmallow. So it is a very heavily skinned version of Android, so each and every aspect of stock Android has been removed and we get this MIUI. Personally, I don't like the MIUI in MI5, but it gives way more customization options for power user, and we also have a nice theme engine built into it which changes wallpapers, icons and each and every aspect of the phone. So that covers the software part of both the devices. So if you want something very close to the stock Android with its beautiful material designs, stick with OnePlus 2, and if you want a very snappy UI and a lot of customizations, go for MI5. And guys, coming to the multimedia experience on both the devices, speakers on both the devices are pretty good. They are not very loud, but they are pretty good, manageable. And you have just seen the display performance of both the devices. So I would prefer MI5 just to watch YouTube videos, but if you have a lot of offline content, then you might find the 64GB in OnePlus 2 as a much better option. As I've said you earlier, in terms of standalone usage, both the displays are pretty good and there's not much difference in the speaker performance. So guys, finally coming to the battery performance, MI5 has a 3000 mAh lithium polymer non-removable battery, whereas OnePlus 2 has a 3300 non-removable battery. MI5 has Qualcomm's fast charging 3.0, whereas OnePlus 2 doesn't have anything like that. On the paper, MI5 charges from 0 to 80 in less than 60 minutes, Xiaomi claims that Mi5 can be charged from 0 to 80% in less than 60 minutes, but in my test, I found that it takes about 90 minutes to charge the device from 0 to 80. It might be due to the bugs currently in the version of MIUI I am running, and coming to OnePlus 2, you can charge the device in about 3 to 4 hours. And coming to the battery performance on both the devices, you get about 4 to 5 hours of screen on time with average use, but because of the heating issue on Snapdragon 810, the battery might drain faster if you are playing high-end games continuously. And coming to the charging port, both the devices have USB Type-C, and as I've said earlier, Mi5 comes with a fast charger, whereas OnePlus 2 comes with a normal charger. So there you have it guys, this is the comparison between OnePlus 2 and Mi5. In terms of performance, Mi5 is definitely way better than OnePlus 2, but in day-to-day usage, you might not find that much of a difference in terms of performance between these two devices. At the end of the day, it comes to two deciding factors. Do you want the best looking light-weighted phone with the best camera out there? Then go for Mi5. At the end of the day, it's going to be a pretty close call choosing between two devices. If you choose Mi5, you'll definitely be getting the best phone out of the two, but you'll be running out of free space very soon. But whereas if you go to OnePlus 2, you will have great multitasking experience. The performance is pretty good too. You have 64GB of internal storage, but with that, you have heating issues and it takes too long to charge the device. So there you have it guys. For someone who wants just performance and a great camera, go for Mi5, and for someone who wants the stock UI and a much better multitasking experience, go with OnePlus 2. So that's it for this video guys. Thanks for watching this video. Do let me know if I have missed on anything. If you have any doubts, comment below this video, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel to see more videos just like this.